on the truth. I could buy it, but it's just a rental. It's not a good investment. Being bad with your money is being good at flexing. They always chasing a bag, I guess they couldn't catch it. They trying to be like me, but it's not a good impression.
I booked a trip out west. You could pause it and look at the itinerary if you want, but I really like going out west, and I want to make sure I get to hit a lot of things. So when I plan trips out there, I have day by day by day broken down to the minutes and hours, how many miles, distance for everything I'm going to. We were flying out of Cleveland. I don't really care what airport I fly out of. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, whichever's cheaper. I only fly on Southwest if possible because I get free flights through them with my card. And we have a companion pass, which is buy one, get one free on the flights. So we landed in Salt Lake City, Utah. And the first place we were going to head to was the Bonneville Salt Flats. And I mean, anywhere in Utah, out west, not even just Utah, but I mean, the scenery is amazing. As you can see, we're pulling up on the salt flats now. All that white stuff you see right there, that's just straight salt. I zoom in later just so you could see, what it looks like close up, but it's crazy to me. And the first time we came out here, you were allowed to drive, and we used to drive out here all on the white, all the way to the mountains you could drive. And as you see, I'm zooming in. I mean, it's just straight salt. Like, it's just compacted salt. It's crazy. It looks beautiful with the mountains back there, the sky, the white, the blues. But you used to be able to drive out there, and we were planning on driving out there and filming some stuff over there, but they have it blocked off with these barricades, and one of the workers said the people were getting stuck, so they blocked it off. But you can still access part of it like 5 miles down the road. If you take the first exit after that, you can get off, and behind this gas station, there's an access road to get over there. I don't think it takes you to this part, but it takes you to a similar area. But since we had a detour and we were on a plan, we did not do that. You do have to cut through a little bit of Nevada to get where we were going, which is Shoshone Falls in Idaho. And as soon as you get into Nevada, them casinos be popping up. We stopped in, I want to say it was Jackpot, Nevada, just to get something to drink real quick and eat for the rest of the day. We were back on the road to Shoshone Falls. They call it the Niagara of the West. As you see, we get into Idaho, and there's a mountain goat, waterfalls. The park itself, you don't have to go to this specific area we went to. They have trails and things you can see everywhere. But we went to the main tourist place on the in the park. And the drive up, the mountain views, the rocks, the mountains, the waterfalls, the animals. I truly think that there's no better place to be than out west. I could drive around out west for days, weeks, months. I told my wife I could just sit in the bed of a truck on the side of the highway with a good viewpoint and watch traffic for the rest of my life. I truly love it out there. As you see, we finally arrive at the Shoshone Falls. Any place you go that's heavily trafficked will probably be very well marked. They have pathways to get you to the good scenic points. They do have trails where you can go off by yourself and get amazing pictures. But for all of the main ones, you're going to be able to easily get around and know where you're going. And there was 2 platforms. That was the top platform. Then you can walk down to this bottom platform. And I mean, as soon as you head over there, to me, I mean, you got some of the best views in the United States. It's so peaceful. It's so calming. It's so relaxing. I mean, it's truly beautiful. Look at those views. And on this video, my plan is to have one long video of the entire trip. Once I got it put together, I want to say it's probably going to be around an hour for the whole video. And then I'll go back and I'll do more in-depth videos, shorter videos, of course, like 15, 20 minutes on each place we stopped. So if you decide to go out there or you want to know more about one of the places you see real quick in these videos, there will be more videos coming, more in-depth videos of each one. After Shoshone Falls, we drove to our first place we were staying, which is this camper and tent. It was on Airbnb. It was a glamping experience. My wife and my kid chose to sleep in the camper. My kid did want to sleep in the tent, but he fell asleep before I went to bed, and my wife didn't want me to wake him up. So he slept in the camper with her. The camper was very clean. It had everything you would need. It had a full bath. It had shower, toilet, sinks, little mini living room, kitchen. As you can see through the walkthrough, they provide soap, utensils. They got, they had the coffee there, cream, sugar, water, cups, plates. They got microwave, a stove, nice little furnished living room with a recliner. My kid watched TV for a little bit before he went to bed. You can see my little happy camper red cup. Nice little bedroom. You know, it's not big by any means, but at the same time, it's a camper. You should know it's not going to be huge. I slept outside in the tent, like I said. It was 44 degrees when I woke up. And honestly, I slept great. It was cold when I got out of the tent. They do have a heater in the tent. I did not use the heater. They said you got to open the windows for ventilation, and I was perfectly fine with the blankets they provided. But the sunrise was amazing. We made it in a little too late for the sunset, so we didn't get to see that. But the sunrise was incredible. And even though we didn't make the sunset, we still were there at nighttime. And when I say there was probably 100,000 stars in the sky, I'm not exaggerating. Look at some of these pictures. You could just, I mean, no filters were used in any of the pictures or videos or anything we took. This is just what it looks like out there in God's country, baby. But at nighttime, if you see this area, I'm talking about, you could see galaxies. You could see so many stars. The constellations, we saw Orion, the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper. There was a couple more, I can't remember, but I mean, clear as day. Like, it was beautiful. I was standing out there one time, I think it was like 2 a.m. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" I'm just looking at the stars. Like, it was amazing. And this is me walking around the little camp area when you got the things that told you don't go off the gravel area, which we did not. I didn't see anything that would cause danger within eyesight, but at the same time, I don't know the area, so I followed the rules. After we left the glamping experience, the first stop on the day of day 2 was Craters of the Moon. It's a 45-minute drive from where we stayed. It's a pretty cool park. They have tons of trails. You could hike here probably all day. We stopped at 2 different spots. The one we stopped at is like the main thing that everybody goes to, and there's a little trail that is a paved trail on wooden post. You'll see it in the video, but you can walk through there. I want to say the whole thing took us like 18 minutes, and then we went to another area that was about 18 minutes. But on the walk on the cement little trail, you could see where the lava flowed. You could see lava rocks. They explained the plant life that's still there. They explain, how long ago it was, and everything you're looking at, there's different signs to tell you throughout the trail of how it was created, what you're looking at, when it was created. And it's pretty sweet, in my opinion. Me and my family really liked it. And then right off of that, you can walk up this trail and you will be overlooking what you just walked, the little trail you just walked, plus another part of the park, which is pretty cool. They got good views everywhere you're looking. And I mean, it is somewhat of a hike. Definitely worth it. You can see Shelby. She's out here 6, 7 months pregnant. She's still getting it. So it's not too strenuous. But that right there is the part you just walk through. You can kind of see the wooden little trail going through it. But you still get 360 views of just beautiful mountains and landscape. You could see highways, cars off in the distance, trees. There's a couple camping spots in there. You'll see people are in campers, people are in tents throughout the parks. But the views and the pictures, I feel out west, you can't beat them. We walked around a couple little more areas while we were out there. I was going to go up this one trail. I went back to go up it, and the sign said, no. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was do not use or trail closed or something like that. But like I said, they're mostly pretty well marked. This is another trail we went to. It'll take you up to two of the volcano trailheads. And again, they're real easy. I've been coming here for a while now.
I was younger.
When I was younger, I used to come to this park. And I'd park down at the bottom where we first started. Not here, like way at the bottom before the loop. I would jog all the way up here. Enjoy the views. And I'd jog all the way back. Sometimes I wouldn't even take my car. I'd just walk home. Later on, I'd walk back, get my car. Look at this. Some of the trails are narrow and steep that they give you, but if you take your time, I don't think it's anything 90% of people can't do. I'm not in the best physical shape, and I get around very easily out there. My wife, again, is 6, 7 months pregnant, and she was able to do 90% of the stuff out there. But like, if you look at these rocks, man, like it's almost like you're walking on Mars. There's a lot of places out west that I feel like you're not on Earth anymore. Like, at least to me, because I'm not used to seeing it, you know. I'm not able to go up somewhere and see land and different formations that aren't just grass and trees as far as my eyes can see. But if you walk back down this trail, it'll take you over to one more. And as you can see, man, like I said, it was perfect weather. There's nobody really around. We came at one of the best times of the year and got lucky with weather that we could have got. There's one more. The trail takes you over to one more that you can see. And again, signs everywhere telling you and explaining what you're looking at, when it was formed, when's the last time they were active. All the information are on those signs. But I'm mainly here for, just the views. Like, I just love looking at it. It's amazing. Like, look down there, man. That's crazy to me. We were off to Bear World. This place was pretty cool. They have like a wildlife animal park you'll drive through before you get into the actual park. So I want to say it cost us $75 or something like that. And for that price, you get to drive through the animal park where the bears are just walking around free. They got other animals in the bear park. Then you actually go into Bear World, and they got like smaller bears. They have a petting zoo. They have an amusement park. They have a dino land, and all of that's included in the price it costs to get in the park. Which, I mean, it's not like they have a huge amusement park. They have like 6 rides, but my kid enjoyed the rides. He really enjoyed the bears. They got fish you can feed. fish and duck. There was trout in there. Um, the petting zoo tells you all the animals in the area, gives you a size of how big they were. You can see their pelts, antlers, skulls, different things like that. If you go into the petting zoo, it's pretty much like a free range petting zoo. There's a little pig there I had to check out. But they got deer, they got goats, and they got different other things like walking around where you interact with them. It's not like they're in a cage that you have to go up to the pen or something like that. Kids and adults, everybody was seemed to be having a good time over there, just petting the goats, feeding the goats. They sell food, you could feed them. There is one thing that's not included, which is the bear feeding, which is $75 a person. Me and my kid really wanted to do that, so we fed the bears. Again, like I said, you have the amusement park, which is 5 or 6 rides. And after that, we're back on the road, headed to our hotel for the night. This hotel, I think, was probably our favorite hotel. The location, the amenities, the price, everything was great. That's the back of the hotel right there, right on the water. There was a really good Mexican restaurant across the lake. We stopped. I think it was like $55, and I got a huge burrito. My wife got fajitas. My kid got his, and we even had I think a dessert there. The hotel, again, like I said, was really nice amenities. It was, where did we stay that night? Spring Hill Suites Island, Island Park in Yellowstone. In the morning, another beautiful sunrise as we're headed to Yellowstone to go see Old Faithful. And driving through the national parks itself, like, I wouldn't even have to get out of the car if I couldn't, but because it's so beautiful. But there's pull offs everywhere for pictures. They know people want to take pictures. You'll see moose and different wildlife in the park. And you'll see people pulled off the road. And if you see a lot of people pulled off and they have cameras or binoculars, there's probably something out there. You know, take a look, ask them, be like, hey, what are you looking at? Everybody out there that I talked to and communicated with was friendly. Everybody's out there for vacation. Everybody's out there to enjoy the land. It's just a different environment. Like, it's not negative, not complainers. You're not bothering anybody. There was a couple of times I asked questions. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you. And they're like, oh, no, you're not bothering me. Asked where we were going, where we were from. It's a whole different vibe out west, I swear. And as you can see, we're getting closer to Old Faithful. You can see the steam coming from all the geysers. I mean, I could just sit here and watch this footage. The beauty of out west, man, I'm trying to tell you guys, you have to get out there. Eventually, I do want to live out west. My goal is to retire and enjoy the national parks. You can see we finally made it to Old Faithful. It was one of the busier areas. There might have been 15, 20 people there when we got there. We were there before the visitor center opened. We caught 2 eruptions and we got on our way. As we were driving through Yellowstone, we came across a couple of bison just out grazing, stopped, pulled off the road. They tell you that you can get out of your car, but do not approach them. So that is what I did. I got out of my car. I took some pictures. I got back in my car and I got on my way. There's different scenic pull-offs. If you see these tall poles on my thing, those are actually markers for the snow. And that is how high the snow will get out there. Some of these roads are closed from the middle of October until April. If you do go, they require you to change your tires. But there's so many different scenic pull-offs and scenic views and things you could do. I mean, I could spend a month, 2 months, the rest of my life in Yellowstone and probably not see it all. It's so big. That's why I make sure I have an itinerary that tells me where I'm going, how long it takes to get there, how long I can stay there, and when I got to leave to get to the next one, to make sure I hit everything I want to hit on that trip. If you go back and you look at that itinerary, I mean, it is pretty much laid out to the, this is what you're doing, this is when you're doing it. Like it, we are on vacation, but it is a scheduled vacation. And we were out of Yellowstone Park, headed down the Memorial Park Highway towards the Grand Tetons. Grand Teton National Park, another, I had never been there. It is another beautiful national park. The mountain views of the Grand Tetons are pretty much visible anywhere you go out there. We pulled off on one of the scenic pull-offs with the Tetons right behind us, and the views, it's just so peaceful. It's almost like you're in a painting. If you went and put on like VR glasses, that's what it's like. I walked down to the actual water, and you can see the footprints. It's so soft. You can see the footprints of all the animals that came through there in the morning or during the week, or I don't know how recent those footprints are, but you can tell they're fresh. And they have some of the clearest water I've ever seen out there. Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. I haven't been too many places where if I was in a pinch, I would drink the water out the lake. But in those places, I drink the water out the lake. You can see to the bottom 30, 40 feet down. It's crazy. My kid found a rock, and I didn't know he was painting it. He painted the Grand Tetons where we just were. I thought that was really cool. And then throughout the trip, I think I got a picture of him later on. He actually painted rocks of all the areas that we went, and he would hide them at the hotels and other locations. And he thought that was pretty cool, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then we were headed over to Mormon Row. Some of the first settlers over here built a couple iconic houses that still stand to this day, and you can go and visit them. You can't go in them. I think there was a couple, not these two that are the most known out there, but there were a couple I believe you could actually go and explore a little closer and maybe even go inside down the road. They have the signs of when they were built, how it became an iconic location. But just looking at it, you can see why it's an iconic location. Whoever built that house, they had some of the best views in the Grand Teton National Park. After that, we was headed on out. We rode out through Jackson Hole in Jackson, Wyoming. It was a nice little town. You could do different things. They got rafting tours and stuff like that you can check out. And since we were on the road and we didn't have too much time, I mean, we bought a cooler and we packed lunches. We pulled off and we ate lunch right on the side of the road. We didn't have much time to stop at a restaurant and sit down and eat, let alone there's not too many restaurants out there. You have to eat in the little towns. So when we first got there, we got a cooler and we loaded it up for the whole trip. Every hotel we were at, we'd empty the water out and we'd fill it up with ice. We had milk, cereal, chips, sandwich stuff, snacks, trail mix, stuff like that, so we could eat quick little lunches on the go. After Jackson Hole, we had a decent drive. It was 2.5 hours to, no. After Jackson Hole, we had a 5-hour drive to the Residence Inn in Parvo South University. But that 5-hour drive to some people is like, oh, bro, I can't believe you're going to drive 5 hours after traveling all day. Like, it goes so fast because you're looking at so much stuff along the way. Like, there is not one part of the trip where it's boring or uneventful, or there's not something you can't see that's just like, man, it's so beautiful, or look at that, that's amazing. Um, it truly is just a place where you can go and drive. And the 5 hour drive seems like an hour. With the red rocks, the mountains, the waters, the plains, there's just so many different things, and it's constantly changing up. I thought this train hitting by the thing, like, to me, that was just a cool view right there. Got a little bit of pictures, got a little bit of footage. Um, Out West America, baby. We came through this one part where whole fields were colored with purple. The sun started setting as we were getting into town. Our hotel was right outside of BYU campus. We checked into the Residence Inn in Parvo. Another nice hotel. Then we're back on the road in the morning. We are headed for another decent drive, 3 hour drive to Bryce Wildlife Outfitters. I had booked 4x4s to rent in Bryce Canyon. And this experience was really cool. We got there and he told us we were actually lucky because he's not usually open in the middle of October. He usually closes at the end of September due to the weather. And he said that it was way nicer now than it had been any years he had ever been open this late in the season. And it was like 70 degrees. We did wear a hoodie on the 4x4. That's Shelby logging in all the miles. She's doing a good driving job because she don't like taking pictures or video. She would rather drive. And that's Guy. He's back there doing his guy stuff. And then there's me. I'm the one behind the camera. I reversed it. I don't want to flip it. It's okay. What they gonna do about it? You ride with Rob now, baby. What they gonna do? Nothing. Enjoy the view. Sit back. The 4x4s were dope. He gave us this map, like a 20-minute little thing before, and he showed us everywhere to go, everywhere to not go. It is a unguided, guided tour. He doesn't go out there with you, but he gives you a map. He shows you how to download the map on your phone in case you lose reception. He marks everything off for you. If you ever get out there to Bryce Canyon, I would highly suggest renting a 4x4 from Bryce Wildlife Outfitters, especially with your family. My wife, like I said, again, don't want to keep bringing it up, but she is pregnant. So we were a little bit worried, but not one point in this ride was it anything we would be worried about. There are nice paths you can go on. Everything is marked for you. If you don't want to be crazy, you don't have to be crazy. You can have a very nice scenic drive, climb the hills, and enjoy the views that you wouldn't be able to get to without a 6 hour hike. And I mean, when we got to the top of some of these views, they were breathtaking. Red mountains, red rocks. You see the green trees behind them. They have the area where some of the trees are 1,000 years old. Like, it's just crazy. In the one spot, he told us to, park on the trail and walk up because if you drive up, it's a sharp drop. And when we got to the top, we understand why he didn't want us driving up there. Like, you would have went straight down because you come up to where you could drive, and then all of a sudden it is a cliff. There are loose rocks. I definitely wouldn't be driving a 4x4 on that side of it. But again, the views, I mean, it's going to take you 8 hours to hike up here, 6 hours to hike up here. Lil man got a little driving time out there. Like I said, it's fun for the whole family. You can have an exhilarating time, or you can just take a nice and easy day. We were there for about 4 hours. We had a 4 hour rental. After that, we were off to Spring Hill Suites in Cedar City. That was an hour and a half away from Wildlife Outfitters. And again, that hour and a half, like, feels like 15, 20 minutes in the car. I just love the views. Like, they're always changing. And you'll come across things where, like, you might just want to pull off. They got this road where they blew through it. Perfect picture opportunity. Nice little pull off right there. Hit that, you back on the road. And Bryce Canyon, I mean, it's huge. All of the places we went, you could spend more than a day there. Most people come for multiple days to a week for just one area. But again, I don't have that luxury of time to be able to stay gone for 6 months. So I got to get as much in as I can in a short amount of time. So I only get to hit the things I want to hit for 1 to 3 hours. And then I get back on the road. It might not be the type of vacation you want to go on, but it's the type of vacation I have to do to be able to see what I want to see and the time I want to see it. At the same time, it's not like I don't ever plan on coming back. While I'm there, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this, this, and this. And then I can go back and add that to the next time I go. We got to the hotel. This morning we had to wake up and we were headed to Zion National Park. Watching the sunrise driving into Zion, man, that was honestly one of my better mornings. The purples, the oranges, and the way the sun comes up over the mountains, like one mountain might be lit up, but it's so high it's blocking the rest of them. So the next part you look at is dark. And I don't know, it's weird. You got to get out there and experience it for yourself. My wife doesn't enjoy it as much as I do. She's more of a beach person. She can sit at the beach all day. I'll be at the beach for like 5 hours and I'm ready to go. As for her, she was here for a little bit and she was ready to go. She opts to drive because she doesn't want to take pictures and videos because it doesn't interest her that much. But I truly don't understand how this isn't just like fascinating to everybody driving through there. I could drive through there every day of my life. If that was my morning route to work, I'd drive 2 hours to work every day, there and back. Chalk that 4 hours up. It's all right. But now Zion National Park, it's huge. You could spend forever hiking Zion National Park. There's so many different places you can go. One of the roads we weren't actually allowed to drive on during the summertime. It is closed to cars. You can only access it by trolleys and trains due to it's really a shuttle. You can only access it from a shuttle due to the high traffic. They don't want all the cars. There's not enough parking. There are so many people hiking and camping and doing stuff in Zion National Park. But it's so big, you really don't run into that many people when you're out there. Even at the high tourist locations, there's not too many people. So it's even less out where you got to hike 3 miles, 4 miles to see these views. So even though there's a lot of people in the park, you don't feel crowded. You don't feel overwhelmed. Except by the views. To me, like, it's hard for me to take it in. And like I said, I can stare at that thing and look at it. You can see the striations. You can see where they broke off. You can see where they blasted through. You can see, where the machines made their marks. The Grand Tetons are nice to drive through, but Zion National Park is probably the most awe-inspiring scenic drive that we did. If you're talking about just the views from that drive, Zion National Park, and man, it's hard. I mean, it is beautiful, and it has some of the craziest things. The tunnel's great. The story of how they did the tunnel's pretty good. But I think Zion National Park, Valley of Fire, the Grand Tetons, like they're all amazing places. I would probably say Zion and Valley of Fire, if you just drove and didn't get out of your car, would be the two most for scenery. If you're not looking for wildlife, there are plenty of wildlife in Zion and the Grand Tetons. But if you actually want wildlife, for sure, Yellowstone would probably be a better drive. But if you're looking for scenic views and all like in the jaw dropping, like all breathtaking views, I'm gonna say you're gonna want to drive through Zion and you're gonna want to drive through Valley of Fire in Nevada. Here's the tunnel. We take a quick trip through the tunnel. Through this tunnel, they have different places that are cut out. I did try and snap pictures as we were driving of the cutouts. You can see them in the videos. But the road takes you through this tunnel that they blasted through. It's really 2 lanes, but if you have anything bigger than an SUV, they have to shut down one side so you can drive through the middle because the sides are, I want to say, are 9 foot tall, but the middle's 15. So they got to shut down one side. You have to have a special permit for it. And they shut one side down. Once you come through, they open up both lanes again. But once you go through the tunnel, you'll come back down around and you can pull off and you can see the mountain that you just drove through. And like to think that they made a road through that, I mean, to me, that's like, what? I mean, I don't know. It's crazy to me. Somebody was like, hey, we got to make a road through this. I'm like, sorry for you, Jack. You better come up with plan B. And after we left Zion National Park, we were off to Las Vegas. And the views from there to Las Vegas, again, it doesn't matter where you go. I'm not making this up. We didn't use filters. I didn't put anything in that wasn't from footage I took from point A to point B. This is the stuff that was along the way. We stayed outside of Las Vegas the first night, and then we went to the Strip, Flamingo, MGM, and the Pepper Mill. We went out to eat. My kid likes the Flamingo. They have a koi fish pond, turtles, fish, birds, things that kids can enjoy. You don't have to be a kid to enjoy them, of course. As you can see, there's plenty of adults out there. Um, but it's a nice little outside area, a little bit of shaded area. It was, I want to say, like 90 when we were in Vegas. But he really likes looking at the koi fish. He likes the turtles. He goes to the Lily Pond. He really likes that in Mill Creek Park. So it's kind of a similar vibe with a tropical surrounding. Um, Hit the Strip a little bit. They're setting up for the F1 race. I think it was a week or two out from when we were there, which is by the time I get this video done, it will probably have either happened or be happening. The seats in front of the Bellagio to get in there for one day, they start at $10,000 for the box, and the cars are in front of you for less than 2 seconds. Like, that just blows my mind. The cats that follow F1, Formula One, that's old money, man. They're not your typical NASCAR, NFL, MLB. That's old big boy money. You're paying 10 grand for one day. I think it's a 3-day event, and the tickets are 35 or 45,000 for those seats for those days, and you're gonna see the cars for less than a minute over those 3 days. That's just crazy to me. I was planning on going to the Wynn and spending $80 a meal for my food. It's like $70 or $80 a person at the Wynn. That's where I was headed. But my driver told me you should check out the Peppermill. They said it has a great environment, the food's good, and the prices are really reasonable. I'm like, all right. So we end up going to the Peppermill, and I don't know about you, but if somebody tells me that the prices are reasonable, I don't plan on spending $24 for a cheeseburger. Again, like I said, I wasn't mad that I spent money because I was planning on spending money on dinner anyway. Being that we were in Las Vegas on Saturday and Sunday, um, I do gamble, so I had to, of course, stop on into the sports book at Circa. Circa is one of the best sports books. That place is huge. They have one of the biggest sports books. They have the most options for parlays, prop bets, and things like that. DraftKings is actually not allowed in Nevada. So if you go to put your bets in on DraftKings Sportsbook for all the crazy prop bets, parlays, and stuff like that, they're not going to let you do that. So you pretty much have to find a sports book, and Circa is, to me, hands down the best sports book there is. It's also the most expensive sports book if you want to watch the games and get a chair there. I think it was like $200 or $250 for a chair, $2,500 for a booth and table. That did include all you could eat and drink at the booth and table, but either way, I wasn't staying there. I was going to be watching them on my phone while my kids swam in the Golden Nugget anyway. The next day, we checked into the Golden Nugget. That was really the reason we were staying in Las Vegas. Is the Golden Nugget has a pool that has a shark tank in it with a water slide that goes through the shark tank. And my kid getting drug along this trip, he does enjoy the views and the car rides. Like, he really does like being on vacation and doing road trips. But at the same time, like, the views, it's not like we're doing something for him. So one of the days I wanted to make pretty much for him. When you go through the shark tank, it's clear. Everywhere else, it is yellow. My kid went down it 15 to 20 times while we were there. They have other fish in there besides shark. You could swim around and see the fish swimming in it. They got blackjack, craps tables, TV set up. They got an adult pool on the second or third level. I think it's the third level, an adult only pool. You can play craps and watch the games. For dinner, we went to the best pizza place in Vegas, if not the United States, Pizza Rock. I highly suggest you check that place out. After dinner, we went to Fremont Street, which, if you're in Old Vegas, is pretty much the place to be. They got the LED screen above you that lights everything up, street performers, musicians, all of that. We stopped at this magician, and my kid loves magic, and this dude was really, really good. I'll probably have the whole thing that we were there for on a separate video, but he did 3 or 4 tricks while we were there. We caught him probably right in the beginning, if not mid-act. But his grand finale was crazy. My kid loved it. I loved it. The crowd loved it. The dude was a very good performer. He had good crowd interaction. He had very good tricks, and he was funny. He had a comic vibe to him. But the magic was cool. He was cool. The connection he made was cool. Fremont Street, again, we were down there checking out a couple things and checking out the paintings. My kid's into art, magic, things like that. So those were the things he wanted to see. The LED screen. Headed back to the room. I was about to walk into the hotel when, of course, I see the one and only These Nut Gotti. The next morning, we left the Golden Nugget early. We were headed to Lake Mead, the Hoover Dam, the Grand Canyon, and when I was at one of the hotels, I was talking to another guy, and he told me that if I was going to the Grand Canyon, I needed to drive through the Valley of Fire, that it was beautiful this time of year. That was not on our plan, but I looked and it added like 45 minutes to an hour to take that way. And that turned out to be one of the best, if not the best, parts of the trip. Um, it was amazing. I had never been there. I had never heard of it before. And it just happened to be a conversation at breakfast with a random stranger that came up and talked to us that we learned about it and decided to go. And we spent probably not a half a day, 4 or 5 hours we spent in the park. Um, I did more hiking in that park than I did in any other park. Me and my kid were climbing, and the climbs weren't difficult. They were kind of easy. My wife didn't climb as much as we did. Going up wasn't that bad. You could find different ways to get up, but then all of a sudden you would be so high up, you're like, oh man, I don't know how to get down. But this was right up there with Zion, the actual scenic drive. The whole drive, you're just looking out the window, you're just staring at different things. The scenery is always changing. Um, the hikes weren't that bad. There's a couple sweet things you can see right off the main road. You'll go to a pull off and it'll be like a quarter of a mile hike. It'll take you maybe 30, 40 minutes to do the whole thing. It is sand inside there. It's a desert. So make sure you got decent footing and you're ready to walk on sand and hike through sand if you go. But me and my kid went and we hiked up some things, and like the pictures you can get, the views you see, um, I would definitely try and make a plan to go out to the Valley of Fire in Nevada. If you like any type of outdoors, scenic views, things like that. I definitely have plans on going back here for at least a day or two. Showing the pics to a couple of my friends. They really want to go back. They really want to experience, do some hiking and some climbing. And like I said, if you go in the morning, it's not too hot and it's very easily to climb up. I did get my kid a little higher on a couple of the climbs than I might have should have, because when we went to get down, I'm like, oh man, I really wasn't ready for this. But there was not any point where I was worried about his safety or anything like that. Um, there was some of the hikes I did solo just to get pictures, that I didn't let my kid go on. But Valley of Fire State Park, definitely recommend you check that out if you're into views, hiking, scenic drives, landscape, anything. My wife decided that it would be better for her to sit on a rock and wait for us to get back and give us dirty looks while we were out there. After we got out of the Valley of Fire, it was off to Lake Mead. Lake Mead is also relatively close to the Hoover Dam. I just wanted to check it out because I've heard so much about Lake Mead. A couple people told me I should take a day and rent a boat and stay out there. And next trip, I do plan on doing that. This trip, I didn't have time to have that planned a whole day. If I would have did Lake Mead, I probably wouldn't have been able to stay in Vegas. And that was the day my kid was for my kid. So I didn't want to eliminate his day to add another day of leisure activities for me. After we stopped at Lake Mead, we went to the Hoover Dam. I didn't really care to go to the Hoover Dam. I didn't go on a tour. We just drove to the Hoover Dam, went to a couple of the overlook points, took some pictures, read a couple of the signs. I really just stopped because it's one of those things you're supposed to see in your lifetime. It was really cool to see, but I wouldn't personally spend more than an hour there myself. Everywhere else I went, I could probably spend at least a day, two, if not a week. But after the Hoover Dam, we were off to the Grand Canyon, which is one of my favorite places out west. It was the first place that ever took my breath away. When you just walk up and see the size of the Grand Canyon, the colors, the cutouts, it's just, yeah, I mean, it is awe inspiring. Um, and I would, when I first saw it, I thought, like, imagine the people that first came up on the Grand Canyon. Like, you're just hiking and walking. You've come through mountains, you've come over rocks, you've come over hills, deserts, and then you just come to this giant and humongous, enormous hole, crater, canyon, whatever you call it. Like, you're like, well, I guess we're stopping here, Jack. Like, that's it, bro. Like, it is huge. But when we were leaving the Grand Canyon, the sun was setting. And as we're driving, I'm just taking pictures and videos. And finally, I'm like, babe, you got to stop. And we pulled off to the side of the road. It wasn't even really a pull off, but the whole desert looked like it was on fire. And the colors were amazing. It was glowing where the sun was setting. The skies were orange, purples, reds. But the fact that it looked in the pictures and the video, it literally looks like the entire desert in the background is just on fire. And I thought that was so cool. We made sure we stopped and got some pictures of that. That was an unexpected, unplanned God gift of scenery and views right there. We were off to the Courtyard in Page, Arizona at Lake Powell. Once we got to our hotel, we went and got something to eat. We Googled places in the area, found something. It was a nice little restaurant, great environment. They had live music. And then we called it a night from there. All the hotels we usually stay at are Marriott's. We have a discount code that gives us a nice price, so we prefer to stay there if we can. They're usually located close to where you're going, so it's not too far out of the way. If we have to, we'll stay somewhere different, but it's not too often we can't find a nice Marriott location within where we need to be. The next morning, we were headed out to Monument Valley. We were pretty much just taking a scenic drive to get to our hotel in Albuquerque to get ready to head home. Monument Valley, it's a great drive, but that's pretty much all you're going to do. You're going to see big, huge rocks. You're going to see land. You're going to see landscapes. You're going to see beautiful. That's all you're going to do is drive. It's a scenic drive. There's not, if you want to hike, you can get out and hike, I'm sure. But it's not like a location that I've heard people talk about hiking. It's mainly for the drive. There's a bunch of pull-offs you can take. The views are really great. Again, I'm a scenic guy. I love being out west. I could drive around forever. I'm pretty sure I've said that 25 times during this video. I apologize. It's an hour-long video. I don't know what you want me to say for an hour. I'm doing the best I can to give you what I got. I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not a professional videographer. I did the best I could to bring you along with me on this out west journey with my family at the same time as enjoying it with my family. Editing it was a little bit longer of a process than I thought it was going to be. After I'm sitting here looking and watching videos and I got 20 to 30, 40 minutes of stuff I got to say, I don't have anything to say for it. The end of Forrest Gump where he's running and he just stops and says, I want to go home now. That's on the road of Monument Valley. That's what he's looking at in the background. That's where everybody stops to take pictures. The scenic drive through Monument Valley, then we went to Mexican Hat, saw that, and drove through Red Mesa. As we were driving, I saw a sign that said Four Corners was like 20 miles away. If you don't know what Four Corners is, it's where 4 different states meet. I'm probably going to mess this up, but I believe it is Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, And I'm going to say Wyoming, but I'm probably wrong on that fourth one. I could look it up and edit this video, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We all make mistakes, bro. When you see that many things in 8 days, it does get a little blurry, but like I said, that's the way I have to do it. I wouldn't change it. I would stay longer if I could, so I guess maybe I would change it. But if it was not do it or do it the way I have to do it, I wouldn't change it. I'm going to do it the way I got to do it. I love seeing this stuff. It makes working worthwhile. And hopefully one day I get out here and get to experience it every day. That's the goal in life for me, is to live out west. You could put me on a trailer in the desert. I'll be all right. Just let me get the mountain views. It truly is a beautiful place. I was sending pictures and telling people, like, there's no filters needed out here. It's postcard pictures everywhere you look. It truly is God's country. If you're into that kind of thing, scenery and scenic drives, hiking, anything like that, man, get out west. Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, Arizona, Colorado, all of them, man. There's something to do in every state out there. We did go to New Mexico. I don't know if I just didn't find things that weren't really interesting to me, but I don't have any plans on going back to New Mexico. All the other states I would go back to tomorrow. As my wife said when we were there, it was like New Mexico was the Youngstown of out west. It's just, I mean, it's prettier than Youngstown, but like, I don't know, it didn't seem to offer what everything else the other states had to offer, as in activities, hikings and trails and the environment, the vibe and stuff like that. But we had to knock it off the list. We got to hit all 50 states, and that's one of them. So one of the better things, we stopped in at a restaurant. This was pretty cool. If J.R. Grinders and Ponderosa had a baby, it would be this place. It was called The Grill. You walk up, there's no waitresses. You either getting the ribeye, the burger, or the chicken. They cook it right there on the grill in front of you. They yell your name out when the order's ready. If you're not paying attention, they have this big thing that like a cheerleader would yell into at a football game, and then they yell your name again through that, so it's really loud. And of course, the guy that owns a restaurant where we get agitated when people aren't listening when we yell out their orders was the guy that wasn't paying attention when his name was called, and they yelled my name to this little megaphone thing. Loading them up. How was your trip, Guy?
Good.
What was the rating?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? I can't even get a 10 out of 10 out here. Jeez Louise, he
I give
swims
it
with...
8.
An 8? Oh my God. See how they do me? Wow.
Golden Nugget didn't want us to win.
Wow.
Should have stayed in the Golden Nugget longer.
Oh man. These guys want Vegas nonstop. I try to give them a 9 out of 10 and an 8 out of 10. Man, like, I don't want him on an iPad. I don't want him to think
No,
of video
I'm
games
good
and inside
No,
is
star a day
all there
equals
is.
9
Like,
stars
get
out
out
of
and
10.
do something, my man. The world is yours, my man. The world is yours, kid. Go out and live. This was a long video. Don't know how many of y'all made it to the end. If you did, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it inspired you to go out west or go on a trip that maybe you had been wanting to go on. Sorry for talking. Sorry for the breaks. Sorry for if you didn't like it. I mean, I did what I could. But y'all already know what it is. Right?
I could buy it, but it's just a rental. It's not a good investment. Being bad with your money is being good at flexing. They always chasing a bag. I guess they couldn't catch it. They trying to be like me, but it's not a good impression.